Welcome to Recovering Addict. Today it is just me. Might have a co-host pop in, not 100% on that. But tonight we're just going to continue on with the connected child. So, where's Merc? Merc said he wants me to read him stories, so he's not here quite yet. But I'm going to just play Felice's role and greet the chat real quick. We got Dez first, good day, everyone. And hello, Dez. We got Sky, channeling her Australian. Mo from Florida. Clark, I believe you're a new member on the Discord. Let me know if I'm correct in that. Janelle, hello, greetings. This one, I'm quite pleased with that. Have you started reading The Connected Child? Have you started reading The Connected Parent? These are all valid questions. This is my first solo stream, so sort of don't know what to do with my hands. So okay. Why I want to hide. Okay, there we go. There was a delay. Excellent. There's Merc. Merc, it's story time, Merc. It's story time. Okay, you ready? Okay. So, I think I'm going to start with the 24 hours a day. Today's the 7th of January, I believe. Correct? That is correct. 7th of January. So the AA thought of the day. When temptation comes, as it does sometimes to all of us, I will say to myself, no, my whole life depends on not taking that drink, and nothing in the world can make me do it. Besides, I have promised that higher power that I wouldn't do it. I know that God doesn't want me to drink, and I won't break my promise to God. I've given up my right to drink, and it's not my decision any longer. Have I made the choice once and for all so that there's no going back on it? Ooh, that one causes me a little bit of issue there. Because what if you do go and drink? Not working, might not be working the program, not have all the pieces in place. Still good. Meditation for the day. In silence comes God's meaning to the heart. I cannot judge when it enters the heart. I can only judge by results. God's word is spoken to the secret places of my heart, and in some hour of temptation, I find that word and realize its value for the first time. When I need it, I find it there. Thy Father, who seeth in secret, shall reward thee openly. And then the prayer for the day. I pray that I may see God's meaning in my life. I pray that I may gladly accept what God has to teach me. There we go. That's yes, very nice. Got more folks popping in. Raylene, still that delay. Oh, Claiborne, the barber. We got Alan, sober powerlifting. Silence. No, and yes, that is the appropriate position. Portable rug. Let's see. And okay. Ooh, Marilyn. Good evening, Marilyn. So, since I'm just winging it, just going to get right into it. Oh, Bookmark. Bookmark. Okay. I will. So, just start with, I believe we finished the lifestyle commitment, and now we're moving on to a word of hope. Parents sometimes come to us with broken hearts. They feel they have drained their hearts, finances, and energy, but have gotten no positive response from a child. They feel spurned and run dry, that their marriage has been wrecked and their health has been ruined from sleepless nights. They feel guilty to admit they no longer love their child. We tell them it is okay not to feel love for your child right now, but it is important to be kind to your son or daughter. Just make it your goal to try to understand what your child needs and to help him or her feel safe. As your child begins to feel safe, watch if you don't just find room for love to grow again. I think we've all been there. I have, not necessarily with like lack of love, but definite high levels of irritation directed towards my children for behaviors that I didn't understand at the time. So that makes sense. Research literature and our own experiences have convinced us that at-risk youngsters are capable of making tremendous strides toward overcoming early hardships and limitations. Parents play a critical role in helping these children succeed. Research studies clearly show that when parents learn how to appropriately balance guidance, structure, and nurturing their children's needs, wonderful growth and dramatic progress are possible. The human brain is a powerful machine. It can physically forge new neural connections over our entire lifespan. The earlier a child receives appropriate intervention, the more opportunity there is for the body and brain to heal. And the more impressive the possible behavioral gains. Not every child is destined to become a superachiever, but we believe with all our hearts that through the right care and treatment, virtually every at-risk child can become a happier, more loving, and better adjusted member of his or her family and society. Here are some of the wonderful gains we've witnessed in children who were treated with the approaches described in this book. A squirmy, disruptive, and angry 3-year-old girl who has been expelled from 2 preschool classes can now follow directions, sit still, and play quietly. Instead of the distressed expression she wore all the time, she now smiles more often, happily mirrors her mother's behavior, and touches her mother affectionately. A 5-year-old boy, next example, a 5-year-old boy who was physically tiny and had limited language skills since coming home 4 years earlier, began seeking his mother's cuddling and speaking in full articulate sentences. He grew so rapidly that he gained 3 pant sizes, all within 2 months. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder and reactive attachment disorder, I learned about that in another book that I'm reading right now. A 6-year-old girl didn't allow her parents to cuddle her. She had to be socially isolated because she would growl, writhe on the floor, and physically attack her sister and brother. In less than a year of intensive behavioral intervention, she became a kind and affectionate big sister with lots of friends. She and her mother now share the simple joys of home life, including craft activities and baking cookies. She has begun telling her mother, "I love you." An 11-year-old boy who wasn't allowed in public school for 2 years because of his aggressive outbursts was successfully weaned from 2 antipsychotics and 3 other drugs. He has successfully rejoined a regular classroom and excels at many enrichment activities. He is praised by his new teacher for his consistently exemplary behavior. We can't promise that your child will show the same dramatic gains as the youngsters in these real-life examples, But we do know that by incorporating these methods into your daily life, you will empower your child to reach more of his or her potential and rediscover your own joy in parenting. If you're ready to help your adopted child not just behave, but blossom, and to empower the healing connections that will bring greater joy to your family, we encourage you to read on and begin exploring the techniques we share in the next chapter. Whoa. We take a little reading break already. So let's see what you guys are do. Ooh. Alan, 6 years on Monday. That's good. It's good. Congratulations there, buddy. Yeah. Definitely congrats. New Amante, that's a new name to me. So that's interesting. You know, Claiborne, congrats, Alan. Lots of congrats. Raylene, congrats again. Okay. Okay. So chapter 2, where your child began. When June was ready to become pregnant, she adjusted her lifestyle to include plenty of nutritious foods, exercise and sleep, and she eliminated alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. Soon, she and her husband were anticipating their first child. The birth itself went smoothly. June eagerly embraced her newborn, snuggling him in her arms. Gazing down in wonder, the baby boy, Adam, looked up at her, heard the soft sounds of June's beating heart, and felt her loving embrace. He gurgled in wonder at the unfolding colors, textures, and noises of the world around him. When he cried from hunger, he was fed and gently burped. When he got tired and fussy, an adult would soon pick him up and rock him. As he grew, Adam was treated tenderly and respectfully. His parents cuddled him, guided him, played with him, and when necessary, disciplined him, always prioritizing his needs and safety. Adam has received a great start in life. Before birth, he was incubated in a healthy womb and later emerged into a secure, loving home where he would be tended by competent caretakers. Not all children are so lucky. The adopted and foster children we typically work with face a very different entry into this world. They may have been born to a reluctant teenage mother, removed from the home of abusive parents, or given up by poverty-stricken alcoholics. They take separate routes into adoptive homes, but each child is shaped by the unique legacy of his or her own past. The examples below are based on real children we have known. Oh, right on. Right on. 7 months. 7 months. That's awesome. I don't think we have a video for that. But since you're new, I think I will. Where's that 90-dayer? You get 60 days. There's a 6 and 7 months somewhere. There you go. There you go. That was for you. We played it 3 times. That's what happened. You got it 3 times. Ooh. Let's see. So I got these books mainly for my 2-year-old daughter, who was born addicted, unfortunately, and has behaviors. But my 15-year-old has just recently showed some of his own. You think the books can help with him? Yes, actually. As we delve further into the book, uh, there will be a discussion about scripts. There will be engagement activities. I think, like I said, I haven't read this. I'm reading this for the first time with you guys live so that we can both have that whole, right? But I did listen to the Connected Parent, and I do utilize a lot of the principles in that one with my 17-year-old. The playful engagement, uh, monitoring my own body language and my own tone, as well as I run scripts with him too, and just lots of time. So yes, it's a little bit different um, from just what I've experienced. You know, you don't talk to your 17-year-old like you talk to your 8-year-old. You don't talk to your 8-year-old like you talk to your 3-year-old. You know, so there is some variation there for sure. But so here are those examples. Donny's early life. In an orphanage, baby Donny has the crib farthest away from the nursery door. He lies in soiled diapers for hours at a time and is the last baby fed by the attendant. Left untouched and underfed, he does little but stare at the sterile walls and ceiling. The back of his head has become flattened from remaining in that position so long. Gloria's world. 5-year-old Gloria is pretty. With wide brown eyes, a pouting mouth, and long dark hair. She catches the attention of two orphanage attendants, a male and a female, who want to break up their daily drudgery. They lure the little girl with kindness and teach her how to gratify them sexually. Gloria learns that flirting and stimulating an adult's private parts is the way to earn attention, affection, and food. That got heavy. That got heavy. Rick's childhood. Little Rick doesn't understand why his father can turn mean sometimes, but when he does, his dad smells funny and hurts people. He might knock down Rick's mommy or come at the children with a bat. Sometimes the boy hears screaming in the other room and knows that his sister is getting hurt too, but he is too small and scared to help. No matter where they go, Donny, Gloria, and Rick will always carry the effects of their own individual history with them. Even after they've been adopted into a stable home, the invisible scars of their early neglect or abuse can often make it challenging for these youngsters to thrive. Parents are frequently surprised to learn of the obvious and less obvious effects of their child's early deprivation. To give you insights into the very real obstacles your child may face, this chapter gives a brief overview of how healthy babies grow and learn, as well as what happens when ideal circumstances are disrupted. Armed with these insights, you'll be better prepared to understand your child. Uh, so scripts are. I was waiting for that. Uh, right there. Stand by. I suck. Damn it. damn it. Okay, that sucks. Technical difficulties. I apologize, everyone. Okay. So there we go. That was unexpected and unnecessary. So scripts are like, instead of using a lot of words to explain something to your child, using short phrases, such as when it's time for when I ask Drake to stop doing what he's doing and to give me his focus, I'll say pause. So whatever he's doing, he'll pause, he'll drop what he's doing, he'll turn towards me, I'll get eye contact, and then I'll follow that up with whatever it is. Pause, dinner, pause, you have laundry to put away, pause, it's bath time. And then I do the same thing with Cameron. If I notice that he's starting to get dysregulated, get a little upset, be zen, breathe, just, short phrases like that to convey a lot of information, but in a very short period of time that just gets to the point, because these children tend to be unable to process a long series of words. So the shorter, the better. Ow. Subscribe and comment here to win a free car. Let Steve Harvey know you're from Recovering Addict in his comments, and subscribe so he can reach out. And here's Steve, the man himself. Yes, I would love to give a great car away to someone here at TA. RA. Yeah, that's pretty stellar. That's fantastic. So that's what I mean by scripts. Bookmark down. Do one of these. Okay, so a growing baby's first home, unseen risks. We are all shaped by our genetic birthright and by the environment in which we live. To a developing fetus, the mother's womb is an entire universe. If the mother has a healthful lifestyle, her uterus will share that with the growing child. But if the mom suffers from chronic stress, consumes toxins such as alcohol or drugs, or doesn't eat properly, the fetus is exposed to those dangers right along with the mother. An infant's neurochemistry reflects his or her very first home, the uterus. Research confirms that a mother's emotional circumstances during pregnancy can profoundly affect her newborn. One study found that 1-month-old infants whose birth mothers were highly stressed during pregnancy had imbalanced neurochemistry. Another group of children with abnormal brain activity had birth mothers who were depressed and anxious during the last trimester of pregnancy. A young woman who is ashamed of her pregnancy isn't likely to take good care of her body. If she eats only junk food or skips meals, key nutritional building blocks may not be available when needed for fetal brain development. For example, without certain fatty acids, a child's brain can't form properly, reducing IQ. Maternal malnutrition has been linked to a range of developmental and cognitive problems in children, including such mental illnesses as schizophrenia. The effects of alcohol on pregnancy are well documented. Even mild exposure to alcohol during key moments during pregnancy can have lasting effects on a child. In the worst cases, exposure results in a cluster of impairments that include small size, disrupted facial features, damaged organs, and reduced IQ. Professionals call this fetal alcohol syndrome or alcohol-related neurodevelopmental disorder. Children whose mothers drank alcohol during pregnancy often lack the ability to discern cause and effect and are at high risk for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. Exposure to drugs such as methamphetamine or cocaine can double a child's risk of significant cognitive delays. Cigarette smoking during pregnancy is linked to small birth size and growth delays. All these toxins can also cause a baby to be born prematurely, compounding the health risks. A child whose brain was flooded with toxins during key developmental moments can have difficulty processing and organizing information or staying focused on tasks. Thinking impairments may become hardwired, predisposing the child to neurochemical imbalances. Whew, that was a lot of reading. So, there we are. Tiny keys, big hands. I pray all of you are doing great. Thank God for this channel. I look forward to meeting up with LT later this spring to give a car away to someone who is back on track. Right on. Right on. Oh, there's Lish. I think she was late, but she's here now, so that's good. Okay. The first year of life. In an ideal world, a newborn is laid in his mother's arms and cradled within minutes of birth. Soon the mother is feeding him while he rests on her breast and gazes into her eyes. If he is hungry or uncomfortable, his cries will elicit her attention and care. In this way, the child learns to trust adults and begins to explore the world through his physical senses. From the hour of birth, a well-tended baby is immersed in a soft and nurturing sensory bath. He feels the warmth of his mother's body and hears the joy in her soothing sounds. He sees her smile, mirroring back his own preciousness, and they engage in the dance of emotional bonding. This is enormously important to his healthy development. She cuddles, feeds, and carries him, and his senses are awakened. They coo and smile at each other, and he discovers the joys of bonding and attachment and how to behave in synchrony with other humans. Through this simple shared activity, his brain begins to build the neurological pathways of learning and healthy social connection. As parent and infant coo and smile at each other, the child's brain begins to build the neurological pathways of learning and healthy social connection. Oh. That's weird. It was weird. It had a, can't see that. Like a weird, it was interesting. In a phenomenon psychologists call matching, a mother and child synchronize their behavior, continually mimicking and mirroring each other's vocalizations, eye contact, body movement, posture, sleep cycles, and more. Attentive caretaking and matching helps cement the familial bond and build secure attachment, teaching the child important lessons. Yeah, so there's a lot about child attachment theory. Like there's one, it's called the strange situation. I believe that's what it's called, the strange situation experiment, where they took mothers and their children, infants, and they put them in a room, and they're playing, and the mother would be asked to leave, and then they would observe the child. There was an attendant in the room, so the baby wasn't just left completely alone, but they could tell a lot about how attentive the mother was to the child based on the child's reaction to this experiment. One girl, she freaked out when her mother left. Okay? Like, inconsolable. And then when her mother returned, she continued to be inconsolable. Another mother left the room. The child was fine. And when the mother returned, the child didn't even get up or go to her. He just sort of ignored that she came back, which is, an avoidant attachment, where the first example was an anxious attachment. And I think I might be messing up my verbiage just very slightly. But then there was a third, where the mother left, the child became disrupted, and when the mother returned, the child went to her mother for consolation and was immediately able to calm down. So there's a lot that is said about how your child reacts when you come home or when you just enter a room. And so the next section is the senses are the doorway to attachment and learning. A well-tended child is fed, cradled, and soothed when she cries from hunger or crankiness. This scene plays out hundreds of times in the first months of life alone. Through this exchange, the baby learns to trust that her needs will be met and that she can rely on people. Deprived of a caretaker who touches and cradles her, the growing child cannot learn to bond with other people or to even process sights, sounds, and sensations. Without the sound of human voices, a child's brain does not develop language comprehension or speaking skills. Without looking at colors or textures, a baby's brain simply cannot develop the neural pathways it needs for visual skills. Each time an infant is held, rocked, fed, and spoken to, brain growth is stimulated. Each time a child watches colorful scenes or listens to sounds, her brain circuitry grows and develops. As a child watches her mother's facial expressions and sees how she interacts with others, she learns to read the meaning behind other people's faces and behaviors. Without all this vital sensory input, a child's brain circuitry becomes impaired. That's why children who were neglected and mistreated early in life so often display delayed learning, social ineptness, attachment difficulties, aversion to touch or textured foods, poor behavior in noisy rooms, or even problems handling changes in schedule or plans. The next section is isolation and institutionalization. Surprisingly, isolation is more damaging to an infant than early mistreatment. Research with motherless monkeys showed that isolation caused more long-term problems for the youngster than a mean mechanical mother did. Isolated monkeys suffered from disrupted neural development, reduced immune function, social incompetence, and even diminished reproductive abilities. The physical effects of social isolation on human babies are similarly dramatic and harsh. I am blah, blah, blah. Messing up lots of words today. Isolation prevents the circuitry in a child's brain from developing fully, eventually diminishing the child's ability to concentrate, control his emotions, think logically, and process social cues. An infant who is rarely touched or spoken to during the first weeks and months of life can suffer critical mental and behavioral impairments, even death. That is why the orphanage system, in which children are left lying in row after row of cribs unattended, has been phased out in the United States in favor of foster homes, which provide a child with the social and sensory nurturing he or she desperately needs. So we have a that could explain some things there, Des. I'm sure your son is a very emotionally regulated young man. You know, heavy metal, that is definitely stimulating. I wonder what's his scream sound like. And then we have it could be the fan in my computer, the water running or whatever. So the question, what's the backstory for this book? Well, Clark, this is a book based on 20 years of research to help with children with sensory processing disorders who have a history of either stressful pregnancy, early hospitalizations, premature birth, abuse, neglect, or trauma. The sixth one's on my other hand. So their brains, as we've been listening and reading, their brains are wired differently. So sometimes, like a light caress can feel like a punch. A whisper can sound like a scream. There are reports of children with these specific types of history. One girl in particular could hear a penny fall, hit the ground, like 4 aisles over in a crowded grocery store. Told her mother didn't believe her until she walked her all the way over to where the penny fell and like showed her, like, here's the penny that I heard. You know, so it's like these children's nervous systems are like hyperactive, you know, and so there's, you know, those children that seem to freak out in public over things that just seem really minor, or the kid that'll punch a kid in the lunch line at school because somebody bumped him, or your child gets upset, they might cover their ears or like close their eyes real tight because they're trying to remove senses because now there's too much sensory input. You know, that's what this system here is hoping to I lost it. It's gone forever. But it's written mainly for foster and adopted children, like Jeanette says. But my children come from a hard place. My children meet this criteria. They have the behaviors that are demonstrated in this book, and it's my fucking fault. Like most of it, I am a recovering substance user. I'm a recovering addict. I have a shirt and a hat. That's my qualifications. And I fucked up my kids. And it wasn't just me. There were other influences that created these situations, but I'm learning that I can still help my kids. I can make that living amends to my children by letting go of my ego, accepting responsibility for my actions, fixing myself, and getting smarter so that I can help them with their issues, so that they can learn these attachment skills. They can learn these social interactions. They can learn social inferences. Like before I adopted this system, like just 10 months ago, like Drake, all kinds of issues. Like he went from being at grade level to being back in kindergarten. He's in second grade. And since utilizing this system and having him in counseling to deal with everything that we've been going through over the last 10 months, he's back on grade level. He's learning how to self-regulate when he gets upset, he's learning how to calm himself down, because I'm learning how to teach him how to calm himself down. Like, so don't think for a second that this doesn't work all across the board. So that's the backstory, and that's my backstory with it. I got a little passionate there. So we have a block here, the legacy of early institutionalization. Little gray excerpt or sidebar or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. Early institutionalization can have lasting effects. One study showed that youngsters who spent their first 8 months in a Romanian orphanage remained smaller on average than children adopted at birth or home reared. Even when measured more than 6 years after their adoption, orphanage reared kids may show other problems as well. Their levels of cortisol, a stress hormone that can cause cell damage at continually high levels, was significantly higher than levels in other children. And the longer they spent in the orphanage, the higher their daily cortisol levels the higher their daily cortisol levels. At our own research lab, we surveyed a group of 86 families that had developed internationally, primarily from Russian and Romanian orphanages. These parents reported that 23% of these at-risk children had been sexually abused before adoption. 47% were physically abused, and more than half were neglected by early caretakers. None of these children had been held during infant feeding, and less than half received any environmental sensory stimulation while at the orphanage. Now in an adoptive home, 1/3 of these children had developmental learning delays and were smaller in height and weight compared to their peers. Many had social and academic impairments. So now back to the main text. Oh, I didn't think you were doubting. I'm very passionate about this subject. Like very, very passionate about this subject, because even stepping away from this, right? There are skills that children need in their life. And I believe that we were all children at one point. All of us. Every single one of us, obviously, But I am devoted to recovery. I am devoted to helping the substance user, helping the drug addict, the alcoholic, people, just people, right? Wouldn't it be great to help somebody find recovery before they find addiction. Heal the child, stop the addict. That is why I'm so passionate about TBRI for Drake and working with Cameron and doing the things that I'm doing, because I'm hoping to quell any potential addiction issues they may have before they happen. Like, that's my aspirations, and by sharing this with everyone, I hope to, spread that message, spread that love, so that we can up our recovery game and teach our children how to live life on life's terms, how to do that self-inventory, how to develop that self-awareness, and learn how to build relationships. Life happens offline. And you see all these children that are just on their cell phones, and like, that's what they're learning. They're learning that they have a group of friends, and it's no big deal if their friends cancel to go do something maybe a bit more favorable, because our children seem to be unaware of how to build meaningful relationships. And that creates isolation, and isolation creates these thought patterns that lead to potential addiction. So that's my hope, is to teach the attachment skills, the relationship building skills, the self-regulation skills to my children, or to whoever may want to be teaching their children. So I'm just passionate. I went off on a tangent. That's sort of, ooh. Tonight is the first time in a long time I broke down inside, just knowing my daughter's IQ could be lower, and I didn't know about the schizophrenia. I should have, but I didn't think about it, how awful I am. Let that shit go. It's in the past. It's behind you. Let it stay there. Move forward. Living amends. I don't know what step you're on, or if you're even doing the 12 steps, Jeanette, but accept it. Don't let your ego fuck it up. Make your amends to your kids. Make a living amends. Just do the thing. Like, it's not too late. There's nothing that you can do about yesterday. You have this moment, and that moment's gone. And you have this moment, and that moment's gone. You have this. Fuck tomorrow, fuck yesterday. Like, live right now and just work towards making the next several million moments just a little bit better. So, an infant lying in a crib in a sterile institution may compete with 40 other babies for the attention of a scarce caregiver. During the first weeks, the institutionalized baby will cry, but when no one responds, eventually the crying stops. Orphanage nurseries tend to be eerily quiet because babies there quickly discover no one comes when they cry. For these tiny ones, their earliest communications are effectively silenced. Instead of receiving reassuring and nurturing embraces from a mother, the institutionalized baby experiences the world as a cold and impoverished place. There is no affectionate sensory bath. There are few sounds, and whitewashed walls reduce visual stimulus. An institutionalized child misses out on a great deal and is at great risk. So during the first 2 years of an infant's life, it's an endless parade of yes. Okay, your baby cries, you feed. or you change them, or you hold them, or if they're cold, you warm them. You are programming the neural pathways so that for safety, the baby trusts that their needs are going to be met, and that creates that attachment. Like you look at a baby in an orphanage, right? Often a corner, or like you see somebody at a coffee shop, or just these are just examples. They have their baby in a carrier, right? And they're doing whatever. They're on their fucking phone, or they're talking to people, or they're doing this, or they're doing that, and the baby's just boop. That's 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is, of missed opportunities to tell your baby yes. Like, I personally, when Drake was an infant, his mother got postpartum. She had to go on an antidepressant. She was no longer able to breastfeed. Fuck yeah. I really enjoyed that because I got a chest bag. I carried my baby right here on my chest. Like, if he was awake, and sometimes I would get fucking bored and miss my baby, and I'd go poke him in the fucking face until he would wake up so that I could spend more time with him. But he was right here on my chest, and I would feed him, and I would change him, and I was just all the fuck about it, and it was later that, I started relapsing, and there was a lot of stress, and there was a lot of shame, and there was a lot of isolation and things that started to interfere with my relationship with my baby. But like, that's, like touching your kid's hair, holding their hand, cuddling. Like he's 8. We still hold hands crossing the street. Like, if we're watching a show, like, he'll grab my arm. He really, for some reason, enjoys like squeezing the shit out of my bicep. Like, I don't know what it is, but he's like really going for it all the time. Urgh. And so we have a really strong relationship. I've put a lot of work in to repair the damage that I've done, but like that's a big important piece, is just telling your baby yes. And then later on the road, if that time wasn't, hey, put the controller down, come here. Are you on your profile?
Yes.
Yeah, you can put that on. Give me those.
Are you on the live?
Yeah, I'm on a live stream. Say hi to the internet. Look, this is great. There.
Okay.
See, this is Drake. For those who don't know.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, internet.
Good luck playing Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a little sidetrack there. But, it's not too late. Go cuddle your 2-year-old, Jeanette. Is your 15-year-old a boy or a girl? Just go and love on him. Ask for hugs. Like, every time I walk by Drake, I'll run my fingers through his hair. I just constantly. There's some kind of physical contact there. Just put hand, sweet tickle, playfully engage him, just endless. It's just on and on. I'm done reading. So we'll pick up next Thursday, 8 p.m. I'll try to work out some of the kinks and whatnot. The importance of attachment is where we will start. But those of you who have kids, go give your kids a hug. You know, go read a story. You know, but just what's the big book say about the past? Just remember, even in all areas of life, like we mustn't dwell on the past, nor shut the door on it. We have to practice acceptance, and we have to just move forward. So, my back hurts. This couch sucks. I'm losing my dang voice.
Huh?
What? Huh? My back hurts.
Oh.
So, stay strong, work your program, and remember, we recover better together.